What's up, guys? We are back with another NECA Toys review, taking a look at one of my most anticipated figures for this year already. I mean, it's only a couple weeks in and we're getting one of my most anticipated figures, so the bar is high. We are taking a look at the NECA Toys Dungeons & Dragons Warduke. Now, I got my hands on Grimsword a few weeks back, and I mean, I was excited to get him, but I was really hoping that Warduke would be the one that I found first because, I mean, let's face it, he's the one to get. If you're only going to get one, it's got to be Warduke. Now, he comes in a normal Ultimate Style package for NECA, so you've got some artwork of him on the front there. We've got the vintage evil action figures call out. We've got the logos. We've got product shots on the spine, and then, of course, product shots on the back, as well as the vintage bio and a readout of his accessories and a cross-sell with Grimsword. But since it's an ultimate box, it's got the flap, so you've got the big inner product shot on the inside flap, and then you've got the figure there in the window. So very familiar packaging, but I really like the artwork. I really like the vintage homages when it comes to packaging design also. So let's do it. Let's pull them out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package, our NECA Toys Ultimate Dungeons & Dragons Warduke figure. Without a doubt, the one figure that is clearly on a lot of folks' wants lists this year, and is certainly the figure that everybody's been looking forward to the most out of this line. I mean, Grimsword is really cool, don't get me wrong, but everybody wants Warduke for, well, obvious reasons. He just has a really cool, classic, evil design. So let's see what this guy can do. See how he moves around, pretty normal for NECA, especially this type of figure, and he's very close to Grimsword too. So we've got a head that can look up pretty decently, look down really good. You got a little tilt, full rotation there. Arms go out at the shoulders about that far, and then they go out a little bit further on the other side just due to how things are put together. We've got a bicep swivel. You've got your single jointed elbows here. My left arm is kind of tight, but not too bad. He's got a single joint there. You do have some shimmy, some swivel. We've got hinges. We've got rotation at the wrist. The torso is really difficult to articulate. Not necessarily that it's not articulated. It's because of, well, everything that's on him. He's connected to all of these straps and this pauldron and the sheath on the back. So he's got a diaphragm cut. And you can hear how tight it is. It's going to go backwards, and it's going to go forwards, but you've got the belt to contend with there. It is a swivel point, and then he's got a little bit of tilt side to side, but just due to how this is all shoved in there, it does make articulating that torso a little bit difficult. Legs go out about that far due to the somewhat rigid furry loincloth. They kick backwards. They go out really far still, though. You got your thigh twist up there. Single jointed knees get you about 90, maybe a little bit better. On the unarmored knee, a little bit better. You have the weird looking knee joint to contend with there, though. We got boot cuts up there, though, also. Boot cuts up there. And then you've got a really, really nice rocker and hinges down at those ankles. So pretty normal stuff. I mean, this is very much in line with what I expected to get from a NECA figure like this. And then, of course, after getting Grimsword, that was more of the same. My only real complaints about how he moves is just, it is a little bit difficult. Not that there's not some range there, it's just that it can be a little bit difficult at times to move that diaphragm. I'd wager I'm not alone, though, when I say that I'm not necessarily buying this figure for its dynamic posing. It certainly needs to have some articulation, and it does, but it's all about the looks. And as much as I really liked Grimsword, there is absolutely no question of the two that we've gotten so far, this is the star of the show, just because there's so much more that's exciting about Warduke than Grimsword. Grimsword's this big, hulking, kind of just mysterious snake guy. This is entirely different. You know, he's a normal size figure this time around. He's not nearly as big. He's got this incredibly weird asymmetric armor situation. He's got the crazy fins for the helmet, and then you've got that black void for that face underneath that mask, which I really love. And of course, the mystery of why this guy looks so evil has always been part of what makes him cool. But I think NECA absolutely knocked it out of the park with reinterpreting this classic design, that classic figure, into something more modern. The scale mail on his arm and his leg are incredibly well done. The skull on the sort of belt piece here looks great. All these straps, as much as they get in my way, they look really good. They've got a nice leathery paint job to them. The pauldron is really well painted. All of those spikes individually painted as well. You've even got the asymmetric like shin guard versus the boot down here with the little jewels on it. we do have multiple points of weapon storage. So he's got a dagger, he's got a short sword that hangs off the belt with a real metal chain, and you have his full-on sword inside of the scabbard that is attached to one of the straps on his back. We've got more of that furry loincloth, you've got your little pouches, bits and bobs all over him. But really, what is doing it for me most is the paint on this guy, and it's the blue. It's this super deep metallic blue. It shines really well, and it's very lustrous, especially inside. All of these scale mail little bits, all of that individually sculpted, and then you have your helmet up here at the top with that incredibly mysterious blue and the black void underneath, the red jewels, but everything from the shape, the sculpt, the sizing, and the paint on that head, on that helmet, absolutely works. I think they did a tremendous job with this figure. Easily without a doubt, just based on looks alone, this thing is already on my top 10 list for the year because they absolutely just nailed every aspect of the design and visuals for Warduke. Now, as far as some size comparisons go, we've got our Grimsword here on the left for direct comparison to its own line. So you've got your Warduke in the middle, and you can see that Grimsword is definitely larger. He's maybe half an inch taller, give or take, but he's all around bulkier too. And then we've got a Mythic Legions here for comparison. This is the so-called Warduke tribute in many ways within Mythic Legions. This is Rhaegor, to give you an idea of what he looks like next to a normal size Legion. It's going to work decently enough. Warduke is a little on the tall side compared to most of the males in the line. And then let's take Rhaegor's side, and here is something very different. Here is the SH Figuarts Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. And then let's move Grimsword aside. And here is a Super 7 Turtle. And then let's do one more. Here is a Hasbro figure. Here's a Marvel Legend. So there is US Agent. So this guy very much fits in line with a lot of 7-ish inch stuff just fine. It's a NECA figure, so you kind of get an idea of where he's going to fall. He's definitely going to look a lot larger than most Hasbro stuff, but as far as our fantasy-ish lines right now, he's going to fit in really well. Now, as far as accessories goes, Warduke has a pretty solid spread, a decent number. He doesn't have as many as Grimsword, though, and there's a few things he has that I wish Warduke had gotten. So to start with, we do get some extra hands. This is the area where I wish he had a little bit more. He doesn't include fists, which I think is a big omission for this kind of figure. So he's got gripping hands on him in the box. You get another gripping unarmored hand, and I'm pretty sure this is meant to hold the swords, whereas the one that he comes with in the box is meant to more firmly grip the bar for the shield. But it's still, they both work just fine. And then we get a pointing finger for his right hand. And then we get this sort of weird grasping kind of hand for the armored side. It's a weird pose, honestly, but it's okay. It's definitely going to be, kind of a menacing thing. I wish he had fists, though. And then he comes with all of his weaponry. So to start with, we do get this really awesome shield, the big sort of, demon skull thing, which is tremendous. It's humongous. It's got some nice sort of like steel coloring to it. It's not bright silver, but it's got some metallic paint on it. It's kind of pewterish, if that helps. And then we've got the swords that he's got. So he's got 3 different swords, and he's got ways to store them all, like I mentioned. So we've got this sort of short sword here with the blue and gold hilt with a little red jewel in it. And then over on this side, we've got this curved dagger that has a nice metallic blue hilt. This one's fully curved. The hilt is curved, as is the blade. And then we've got his, his like main sword, his long sword here, which has the curved gold hilt and the sort of ruby in there. And you've got that long silver blade, and it includes a flame effect that slips down over the blade. And now he's got a flame sword. So you've got various options when it comes to the weapons. And I'm going to say it because it's very nice for me when a figure can do this. He can store all of his weapons on the figure at any one time, and it doesn't look weird. He doesn't look over encumbered or anything. So he can hold his sword, have all the swords sheathed. You can have the shield up. So he's got a lot of options in terms of what you can use with him. My only real gripe again is that it's a small thing, but I wish he came with a couple of fists. So yeah, overall, really happy with this guy. You know, again, it's cool to get him early rather than sort of dragging the line out for us to get to Warduke. We're getting the most popular character, arguably, right out of the gate, and I think he looks fantastic, and NECA did a really good job on him. Tons of deco, tons of paint, tons of little sculpted detail all over him. This classic character, classic design has been really well reinterpreted into a, you know, modern action figure. It comes with some really cool accessories. He has a just classic evil look. He moves pretty well. And while I do wish he had a little bit more movement in certain areas, you know, specifically that torso, I do think he's going to work really well within the confines of what this line is going for. And he's going to mix really well with Mythic Legions. If you want to have those worlds collide, I think this is going to work out really well also. So that's going to do it for this look at the NECA Toys Ultimate Warduke. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And until next time.